Welcome. We're going to break down something that is absolutely critical to the world of aviation: standards and quality. We'll explore how this massive, incredibly complex global industry manages to keep everything safe, orderly, and running like clockwork.
So, here's our flight plan. First, we'll look at why standards are such a huge deal. Then, we'll nail down what quality really means in this world. After that, we'll check out the ISO 9000 framework, see how it's tailored for the skies, and finally, wrap it all up with what this means for your career.
I mean, seriously, just take a second to think about it. You've got different languages, different national regulations, different companies all trying to work together. How on earth does that not descend into complete and utter chaos? Well, the answer, the secret sauce really, is a shared set of standards. It is the absolute bedrock that the entire global aviation industry is built on.
All right, so let's start with that 30,000-foot view. How does the whole industry maintain safety and efficiency, not just in one country, but across the entire planet?
The easiest way to think about it is that standards are the universal language of aviation. They're the common rulebook that allows thousands of different airlines, airports, and authorities to interact seamlessly. And this isn't just about being organized, for the sake of it. It's about ensuring safety and efficiency on a massive global scale.
So the guiding hand here is ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization. They create these global standards, which are called annexes, and they get very specific. For instance, Annex 15 is all about aeronautical information, and it flat out requires a quality system. The reason is pretty stark. Bad data or wrong data can directly compromise the safety of a flight. It's really that serious.
And that brings us to a really key word: quality. I want to be super clear here. When we talk about quality in aviation, we are not talking about luxury seats or fancy meals. It's a highly technical and very precise term.
So this is the official definition from ISO 9000, and you really got to get this. Quality is all about measurement. It's the degree to which something fulfills a specific stated requirement. A part either withstands the heat it's supposed to, or it doesn't. Navigational data is either accurate to the required decimal place, or it isn't. It's objective, it's non-negotiable.
And here is a super important distinction. Quality is all about inherent characteristics. These are the permanent, built-in features, like the material strength of the fuselage. It is not about assigned characteristics, like the price of a ticket. The price of a ticket can change, right? It doesn't define the technical quality or the safety of the actual service.
So when you apply this to the real world, say for the people handling critical flight data, quality means consistency and reliability. It means their work is trustworthy every single time because the stakes are just incredibly high.
Okay, so we've defined the concept. Now let's look at the global system that was designed to manage it, not just in aviation, but across every industry you can possibly imagine.
And that brings us to the International Organization for Standardization, or ISO. These folks have been around since 1947, and their whole job is to create universal standards to help international trade run smoothly. Their most famous creation by far is the ISO 9000 series, which is basically the gold standard blueprint for a quality management system, or QMS.
And this standard hasn't just stood still. Back in the 80s and 90s, it was mostly about documenting procedures, writing down what you do. But in 2000, there was a massive shift. It became process-oriented, focusing on how different activities connect and influence each other. And that was a total game changer. It forced companies to stop thinking in silos and see themselves as one big system. The more recent versions have just doubled down on this, emphasizing continuous improvement, so it's not just about maintaining quality anymore, it's about actively making it better, all the time.
Okay, so we've got this powerful, all-purpose framework for quality. But aviation is a different beast, right? It's incredibly specific with insanely high stakes. So how does this framework get beefed up for the skies?
Well, it all starts with the same core document, ISO 9001. You can think of this as the universal foundation that any organization, whether it's a hospital or a software company, can use to build their quality management system.
But for aerospace, that's just the starting point. The industry takes that entire ISO 9001 standard and then slaps about 150 extra, more demanding requirements right on top of it. The result is the AS 9100 series of standards. Think of it as ISO 9001 on steroids, specifically hardened for the safety-critical world of aviation.
And the whole goal of AS 9100 is to guarantee that every single component, from a tiny little bolt to a massive engine, is fully compliant,
is fit for its purpose and meets every single customer and regulatory rule out there. There is literally zero room for error.
So, let's bring this all together and connect it directly to you. Whether your future is in aviation management or in cabin services, why does any of this stuff matter on a personal, career level?
Let's talk about the bottom line. When a quality failure happens in maintenance, it can cause what's known as an aircraft on ground or AOG event. That single event can cost an airline up to $100,000 per hour. That's the staggering financial price of a quality breakdown.
So if you're going into management, understanding and championing a good QMS is what prevents those $100,000 an hour disasters. It's what ensures the airline is efficient and financially stable. And if you're going into cabin services, quality isn't some abstract idea. It's the flawless, consistent execution of safety procedures, the very things that protect lives. It's all about reliability when it matters most.
When you boil it all down, it comes back to this: trust. A quality management system is the engine that builds and maintains trust. Trust from regulators that you're following the rules, trust from customers that they are safe, and trust between all the partners in the global aviation network. It truly is the engine of trust.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. In an industry that is becoming more and more data-centric, from design and maintenance to flight paths and passenger services, is the quality, the absolute integrity of that data now becoming the single most important requirement of all? It's definitely something to think about.